Ladies, let me tell you something real quick. If a man can go days without talking to you, you got to stop asking what's wrong with you and start asking what's going on with him. Because a woman who carries love in her heart, loyalty in her soul, and effort in her hands, she don't deserve to be treated like a commercial break. She deserves to be treated like the whole damn show. But I know your heart. I know what silence does to you. It eats you up, don't it? It makes you overthink. It makes you replay every message, every moment, every detail like some emotional detective trying to solve a case that ain't even yours. But today, I'm going to flip the script for you. Because if he can go days without talking to you, there's something you can do that'll make him reach out. Not manipulation, not games, just truth, just self-respect, just the kind of shift that turns a quiet woman into a powerful one. So sit tight, open your heart, because after using this approach, he'll see a completely different woman. You won't be the same woman he thought he could ignore. Stop doing the job he stopped doing. Listen to me. This right here is where most women lose their power without even realizing it. When a man goes days without talking to you, something shifts inside your heart. You start worrying. You start assuming. You start wondering, did I do something? Did I say something? Is he losing interest? Is he mad? Is he okay? And while your mind is spinning in circles, your heart runs straight into panic mode, and panic makes you do the job he stopped doing. You start reaching out first. You start texting first. You start asking if everything's all right. You start checking on him like his emotional caretaker, like his personal reassurance manager. But let me tell you the truth straight and raw. You cannot keep maintaining a relationship all by yourself. You cannot keep carrying the emotional weight of two people while he carries nothing but excuses. You cannot keep showing up twice while he shows up half. When you're the one doing all the calling, all the texting, all the checking in, all the caring, the situation stops being a partnership and starts becoming a performance. You're performing effort while he's performing distance. And somehow you think if you just do a little more, love a little harder, try a little deeper, he'll finally snap out of it and match your energy. But that's not how it works. A man doesn't wake up one day grateful that you overcompensated for his absence. He wakes up comfortable. He wakes up spoiled. He wakes up believing she's not going anywhere. Every time you save him from the consequences of his silence, you teach him he doesn't have to try. You teach him he can disappear and you'll still reach out. You teach him that effort is optional because you'll always take over when he stops doing his part. And the moment a man thinks your love is guaranteed, your presence becomes background noise, something he expects, not something he values. Women often think reaching out is keeping the peace. No, it's keeping the imbalance. It's keeping you stuck in a cycle where you're the giver and he's the taker, where you're the pursuer and he's the receiver, where you're the one trying to fix the cracks while he's the one creating them. But the real issue goes deeper. When he goes silent, you feel the gap and you rush to fill it. You're scared of losing him, scared of the distance growing wider, scared of what that silence might mean. So you jump into action. You text him, hey, you okay? You call him with a soft voice. You send something sweet, hoping it sparks a response. You try to lighten the mood. You try to reconnect what he unplugged. In your mind, you're trying to repair the moment. But in his mind, you're making it easier for him to maintain the distance he created. Silence is a man's comfort zone when he knows you'll break first. What you need to understand is this. When a man is interested, you will never be confused. He will communicate. He will show effort. He will be present. He will check on you. He will reach out. Even on his worst days, even when he's busy, even when life is heavy, he won't let you feel ignored because men make time for what matters. So when a man goes days without talking to you and you're still the one holding the thread together, you're not showing love. You're showing fear. Fear of losing him, fear of his reaction, fear of the unknown, fear of what silence represents. and fear makes you chase, even when being chased is what you deserve. But here's the reality check. Silence is not an invitation for you to step up. Silence is a sign for you to step back. If he stops watering the relationship, stop trying to water it for him. If he stops checking in, stop checking in for two. If he stops putting in effort, stop compensating for his laziness. You are not his mother. You are not his safety net. You are not his emotional janitor cleaning up the mess he refuses to deal with. A woman regains her power the moment she stops doing the job a man walked away from. When you don't reach out, when you don't panic, when you don't rush to fix what you didn't break, something incredible happens. He feels the emptiness of his own silence. He sits in the space he created. He notices the absence of your effort. He realizes your attention isn't automatic. He starts to wonder why you didn't reach out. He starts thinking about you instead of taking you for granted. He starts feeling the discomfort he used to leave entirely on your shoulders. And whether he admits it or not, that shift hits him harder than any text you could have sent. Because when you stop doing his job, he has two choices: step up or step out. Both reveal the truth. Reclaim your energy like you're taking back your life. When a man goes silent on you, the first thing that usually collapses isn't the relationship. It's your energy. You stop feeling like yourself. You walk around with this heaviness that wasn't there before. Your thoughts become loud, your heart becomes anxious, and your whole world starts revolving around one question: why isn't he talking to me? And before you even realize it, your energy, your glow, your spark, your rhythm has been hijacked by his silence. But let me tell you something powerful, something life-changing if you actually let it sink in. A woman's energy is her currency, her superpower, her source of attraction, confidence, and influence. When your energy is low, everything in your life feels low. When your energy is scattered, everything in your life feels unstable. When your energy is centered around a man who isn't centered around you, everything in your life starts to fall out of balance. That's why reclaiming your energy isn't just about moving on. It's about taking back the life you paused while waiting for him to care. Think about this. How many times have you lost sleep because of a man who slept just fine without you? How many days have you spent obsessing over a message that never came? How many hours have you wasted replaying every moment trying to figure out where things shifted? Your mind goes into overdrive, trying to analyze something that's not even your responsibility. And the more you think, the more drained you become. The more drained you become, the more powerless you feel. The more powerless you feel, the more you attach your worth to whether or not he reaches out. That right there is how silence steals a woman's energy. But reclaiming your energy means you interrupt that cycle. You break the pattern. You stop letting his absence control your presence. You stop waking up checking your phone. You stop waiting for his name to pop up. You stop rehearsing what you'll say if he finally replies. You stop letting his silence dictate how your day goes. Because your life, your time, your focus, your joy is bigger than one man's inconsistency. Reclaiming your energy means you redirect everything you were pouring into him and you pour it right back into yourself. And let me tell you, the moment you do that, everything starts changing. You wake up differently. You move differently. You breathe differently. You feel differently. And yes, you look differently because energy shows on your face, on your posture, on your confidence, on your glow. When you reclaim your energy, you're not just taking time back. You're taking identity back. You start doing things you paused. You start going places you avoided because you were waiting on him. You start focusing on goals you put aside. You start remembering who you were before the confusion. You start becoming a woman who is centered in herself again. Because that's what men don't understand. When a woman redirects her energy inward, she becomes unstoppable. She becomes magnetic. She becomes a force. A man may ignore your messages, but he can't ignore your glow. He can ignore your text, but he can't ignore your transformation. He can ignore your calls, but he can't ignore the way you rise. Energy speaks louder than words. It speaks louder than silence. It speaks louder than any apology he thinks he can make later. And something else happens too. When you reclaim your energy, you start to see things clearly. You start realizing you weren't asking too much. He was giving too little. You start realizing you weren't hard to love. He just wasn't ready to love you properly. You start realizing the problem wasn't your worth. It was his effort. And once a woman sees the truth with a clear mind, she becomes dangerous to anyone who tried to play with her. Reclaiming your energy also means doing the things that make you feel alive again. Cleaning your space, fixing your routines, dressing better, eating better, laughing again, surrounding yourself with people who actually show up, doing the hobbies you abandoned, rebuilding your confidence, brick by brick, one good decision at a time. This isn't about pretending you're fine. It's about becoming fine. It's about standing up from the emotional floor you collapsed on. It's about reminding yourself that no amount of silence can dim a woman who knows how to recharge her own soul. And here's the twist that always happens. The moment you reclaim your energy, he feels it, even without seeing you, even without talking to you. Men can sense when a woman detaches emotionally. They can feel it in the shift of your energy because you stop radiating need and start radiating strength. You stop seeking answers and start creating your own peace. You stop chasing connection and start building yourself. That's the moment he becomes curious. That's the moment he starts thinking. That's the moment he notices the gap he created. That's the moment he starts wondering if someone else is appreciating what he took for granted. Because when you reclaim your energy, you stop being the woman who waits and you become the woman he never should have ignored. Remember that silence asks information, not confusion, silence. It's the one thing that messes with a woman's mind more than anything a man can say, because silence makes you fill in the blanks with your worst fears. Silence makes you question your worth. Silence makes you replay conversations, look for signs, analyze every detail like you're solving a mystery you never signed up for. But here's the truth most women don't want to hear. Silence isn't confusion. Silence is communication. Silence is information. Silence is truth without words. When a man stops talking, he's not being deep. He's not being complicated. He's not sending some invisible emotional code you need to decode. He's showing you exactly where you stand. He's showing you his priorities. He's showing you his effort. He's showing you how much presence or absence he's comfortable giving you. And the moment you start treating silence like a message instead of a question, everything inside you changes. Most women overthink silence because we've been conditioned to believe that if we just try a little harder, we can fix things. We can make him open up. We can make him talk. We can make him feel something. So when he goes quiet, you don't treat it as information. You treat it like an emergency. You rush in emotionally trying to fix, soothe, reconnect, repair. But silence isn't a fire for you to put out. Silence is a mirror showing you who's actually invested. A man who cares won't leave you confused. A man who wants you won't leave you guessing. A man who prioritizes you won't let days pass without making sure you're okay. You will never have to interpret mixed signals from someone who genuinely values you. That's why silence is such a powerful form of information, because it exposes everything you've been trying to avoid seeing. When a man goes silent, he's telling you something without saying anything. Maybe he's comfortable knowing you'll reach out first. Maybe he's distracted by someone or something else. Maybe he's emotionally unavailable. Maybe he's using silence to maintain control. Maybe he's testing how much you'll tolerate. It doesn't matter which version it is. The point is, the silence itself asks the message, and the message is this. This is how much effort I'm willing to give right now. Not tomorrow, not later, not when he feels like it. Right now, your job isn't to dream up the potential. Your job is to respond to reality. And the reality is, when a man cares, he communicates. Not perfect communication, not poetic messages, not hour-long conversations, just effort, just consistency, just presence. Silence is the absence of all three. But here's where things shift dramatically when you stop responding to silence with panic and you start responding with clarity. Your entire emotional power comes back. You stop spiraling. You stop begging for answers. You stop questioning yourself. You stop carrying the weight of a relationship he dropped. Instead, you start observing. You start paying attention. You start acting based on what he's showing, not what you're hoping. Silence feels confusing only when you're trying to make excuses for someone. You start saying things like, he's just busy. He's stressed. He's tired. He's going through something. He's not good at texting. He needs space. But here's what women forget. Busy people still reach out to those they care about. Stressed people still find comfort in the ones they love. Tired people still send 2-second messages. People going through something don't push away their peace. They hold on to it tighter. Not good at texting people still put in effort when it matters. Space doesn't mean disappearing. The excuses you create aren't protecting him. They're hurting you. They're keeping you tied to someone who may not be tied to you at all. But when you look at silence as information, you stop writing stories that aren't true. You stop building narratives that only keep you trapped in anxiety. Instead, you see the silence for what it is, a sign of how he feels, not how you should feel. And something else happens too. When you treat silence like information, you stop reacting emotionally. You start responding logically. You stop chasing. You stop overgiving. You stop settling. You stop proving your worth. You stop trying to keep someone who isn't trying to keep you. And that shift is what makes a man notice, because he expects your confusion. He expects your text. He expects your worry. He expects your effort. But he doesn't expect your calmness. He doesn't expect your composure. He doesn't expect you to read the silence instead of fighting it. Your unbothered energy becomes louder than his silence. He starts wondering why you're not asking anything, why you're not chasing, why you're not trying to fix it, why you're not reacting the way you always did. Because men notice the shift the moment their silence stops affecting you. Silence stops being your anxiety and starts being his reality. Give him the space he thinks he wants until he doesn't want IT anymore. Let's talk about something that most women struggle with on the deepest level. Giving a man space when he suddenly pulls away. It feels unnatural. It feels scary. It feels like doing nothing while your heart is screaming at you to do something. Because when a man goes distant, your instincts tell you to close the gap, to reach out, to fix it, to show him you care, to remind him what you two have. But here's the truth. When a man creates distance, the most powerful move you can make is to stop filling the space he created. Give him the space he thinks he wants, and let that space start talking to him louder than you ever could. You have to understand something about pulling back. It's a choice. Men don't accidentally disappear. They don't unintentionally stop communicating. They don't go silent by mistake. It's a decision, conscious or unconscious, to put distance between you and him. And if that's the direction he's walking, you step out of the way and let him walk. Not because you don't care, not because you don't feel, not because you're weak, but because chasing someone who is backing up only teaches them they can retreat without consequences. When you give him space, you're not giving up. You're giving reality room to speak. Space is where truth lives. Space is where clarity shows up. Space is where his feelings get tested. Space is where his ego stops leading and his heart starts noticing. But women often fear space because it feels like losing control. You feel helpless, like time is working against you. You imagine him forgetting you, replacing you, moving on. So you send the hey, just checking in text. You send something cute to break the tension. You try to restart a conversation he chose to stop. But every time you do that, you rescue him from the discomfort he needs to feel. You interrupt the natural emotional consequence of his own behavior. Because here's what men don't expect: silence that's matched. They expect panic. They expect overthinking. They expect you to be the one who keeps the bond alive. But when you give him the exact space he created, the game changes instantly. At first, he might enjoy it. At first, he might feel free. At first, he might tell himself he needed this distance. But men forget one thing. Space feels good only when they think the woman is still emotionally waiting on the other side. When he believes you're still there, still thinking about him, still hoping, still available, space feels comfortable. But the moment he realizes you're not filling in the gaps, the moment he realizes you're not chasing, the moment he realizes your world is still moving without him, that same space he once enjoyed becomes the exact space that starts bothering him. Because nothing makes a man start thinking harder than a woman who suddenly stops being predictable. Your silence becomes a mirror. Your absence becomes a message. Your composure becomes pressure. Your distance becomes the wake-up call he didn't see coming. Giving him space isn't about punishing him. It's about letting emotional gravity work, letting him feel the weight of what he stepped away from, letting him sit with the consequences of his own withdrawal. You're not doing anything extra. You're simply stepping back and allowing him to feel the difference between your presence and your absence. And trust me, he will feel it. He'll remember your laugh exactly when he hears silence instead. He'll miss your text exactly when his phone stays dry. He'll think about your presence exactly when nobody else fills the void. He'll replay moments he once took for granted. He'll wonder why you're suddenly calm, collected, unavailable, unfazed. That's the moment space stops being something he wanted and becomes something he regrets. Men always realize the value of a woman in the space between her effort and her silence. When you stop pushing, their emotions start pulling. When you stop showing up, their curiosity wakes up. When you stop filling his absence with attention, he starts noticing just how loud your absence actually is. But here's the part that changes everything. Giving him space also gives you something back. It gives you clarity. It gives you self-control. It gives you emotional distance to see his behavior with fresh eyes. It gives you time to breathe without clinging. It gives you space to choose yourself instead of choosing fear. While he's sitting in silence, you're rebuilding your center. While he's debating whether to reach out, you're focusing on your life. While he's scrambling to figure out why you're calm, you're becoming stronger than the version of you that would have chased. Space isn't empty, it's powerful, it's a reset button, it's a truth revealer, it's a test he cannot cheat. It's the moment where he realizes the distance he created doesn't just affect you, it affects him too. Give him the space he thinks he wants, and watch how fast that same space starts pulling him right back to you. Upgrade your life like his silence never broke you. There comes a moment in every woman's journey when she realizes something powerful. His silence is not a cage, and it's definitely not the end of her story. It's just a pause, and a pause is where you decide whether you let life drag you down or you rise up like you were born for more. When a man goes quiet, pulls back, withdraws, or creates distance, most women fall into panic mode. They shrink, they wait, they overthink. They replay conversations, rewrite memories, and blame themselves for things they never caused. But a woman who understands her worth, she uses that silence as a reset button, not a breakdown. Upgrading your life isn't about pretending you're okay. It's not about acting unbothered for Instagram. It's about choosing every single day to pour into yourself so deeply that even your spirit glows. His silence may have stung for a moment, but it cannot break a woman who decides she's unbreakable. You don't rise by accident. You rise by intention. You rise by choosing yourself in every space where he failed to choose you. This is where you start building a life so full, so beautiful, so elevated that you don't have time to sit and wait for a man to text you back. Instead of chasing validation, you chase growth. Instead of mourning the attention he stopped giving, you pour energy into the life you're building. People think strength is loud, but real strength is silent, consistent, and rooted in self-respect. You upgrade by becoming the woman who doesn't crumble because someone else became distant. Start with your mindset. Your mind is the engine of your whole life. When his silence comes knocking, you don't let it in like a thief. You guard your peace. You redirect the narrative. You tell yourself, his silence is not about me. His silence is revealing who he is, not who I am. When you stop taking his distance personally, you take your power back. And once you claim that power, your growth becomes automatic. Then you upgrade your environment. Look at the people around you. Look at the energy you allow into your day. Are they lifting you, inspiring you, challenging you, or draining you? Sometimes the biggest upgrade is simply replacing noise with clarity. He went silent. Good. That's one less distraction. That's space for you to breathe, to dream, to rebuild. Clean your space, reorganize your room, declutter your life. These are not small acts. They are spiritual resets. They tell your mind that you are moving forward, not backward. Next, upgrade your habits. Start taking yourself seriously. Wake up earlier. Move your body. Learn something new. Build a skill. Read books that sharpen your mind. Surround yourself with things that make you feel alive. When you improve your habits, you build momentum. And momentum is what transforms a woman from emotionally wounded to unstoppable. His silence stops mattering when your own growth speaks louder. And then upgrade your appearance, not for him, but for you. There is something life-changing about looking in the mirror and seeing a woman who refuses to let heartbreak dull her shine. Change your style, refresh your wardrobe, take care of your skin, glow from the inside out. When you feel good, you act differently. You carry yourself differently. You walk into rooms knowing you belong there. You stop shrinking. You stop overgiving. You stop accepting bare minimum behavior. But perhaps the biggest upgrade is upgrading your purpose. This is where many women transform without even realizing it. When his silence hits you, you feel lost for a moment. But that emptiness is really an invitation to discover something deeper. Maybe it's a passion you've ignored. Maybe it's a dream you paused. Maybe it's a version of you waiting to be unleashed. Redirect the energy you were giving him and put it into your future. That's how you become a woman with vision, not a woman waiting for closure. And the beautiful part, the moment you start upgrading your life, that silence that once hurt you becomes irrelevant. Because here's the truth. A woman who is growing becomes intimidating to a man who's standing still. A woman who is elevating becomes irresistible to a man who didn't expect her to rise. A woman who rebuilds becomes unforgettable to a man who thought she'd wait forever. His silence wasn't your downfall. It was your awakening, your evolution, your turning point. When you upgrade your life like his silence never broke you, you stop being the woman who waits and you become the woman he regrets ever losing access to. Let him come back to a different version of you. There is a kind of power a woman gains not when she leaves a man, but when she transforms during the time he thought she'd stay the same. Men always assume they can return to the exact version of you they walked away from. The woman who used to respond fast, forgive easily, tolerate disrespect, explain herself, and carry the emotional weight of the relationship alone. They think they can disappear, go silent, pull back, then come strolling back into your life and pick up exactly where they left off. But here's where everything changes. You let him return, but not to the woman he remembers. You let him come back to a version of you that his silence helped create. A stronger, wiser, more self-aware, more grounded woman who learned how to love herself louder than she ever loved his potential. There is nothing more shocking to a man than realizing he no longer has access to the woman he once knew. That version of you, the one he took for granted, existed before the lesson. But now you've evolved. Now you've upgraded. Now you've stepped into the identity you should have claimed long before he withdrew. His distance didn't break you, it built you. His silence didn't weaken you, it sharpened you. His absence didn't damage you. It revealed the parts of you that needed your attention. When he comes back, and trust me, they always come back in some way, whether it's a text to check in, a hey, stranger, or a sudden interest in your life. He should meet a woman who no longer bends to fit inside the small space he once offered. He should feel the difference in the tone of your voice, the calmness of your presence, the boundaries you hold, and the confidence you carry. You don't punish him. You don't become cold or bitter. You don't throw his silence in his face. You simply show him through your growth that you learn to live without the version of him he used to be. Your new version doesn't chase. Your new version doesn't beg. Your new version doesn't crumble at mixed signals. She listens to actions, not excuses. She values peace over attention. She knows that consistency is a requirement, not a favor. You let him see that while he was figuring out his confusion, you were figuring out your purpose. While he was sitting in silence, you were sitting with yourself. While he was taking space, you were taking steps forward. This upgraded version of you doesn't accept the bare minimum. She doesn't entertain inconsistency. She doesn't allow emotional shortcuts. And that shift alone is enough to make any man rethink the way he treated you. Because men don't expect transformation. They expect the same woman waiting in the same emotional spot he left her in. But you're not there anymore. You've moved, you've changed, you've elevated. And here's the part many women don't realize. Becoming a different version of yourself isn't about making him jealous or teaching him a lesson. It's about choosing yourself so deeply that his return is not a victory. It's just information. Information that he noticed your absence. Information that he felt your energy pull away. Information that he realized what he lost access to, but it doesn't automatically earn him the right to the new you. Instead, he has to qualify now, not through begging or promises, but through consistent action. When he comes back, your conversations sound different because you are different. You don't drop everything to respond. You don't emotionally overinvest. You speak with clarity, not desperation. You carry yourself with a quiet confidence that forces him to step up or step aside. He will feel it immediately. The shift, the maturity, the peace, the strength. He will notice that you are no longer available for the confusion he once brought into your life. Letting him come back to a different version of you is your ultimate form of empowerment. It shows that you learned the lesson without losing yourself. It shows that you healed, you grew, and you evolved. It shows that his silence may have paused the relationship, but it didn't pause your progress. And the truth is, men respect change more than conversation. They respect growth more than arguments. They respond to elevated energy more than emotional pleading. The woman you become during the silence is the woman he will never forget. So let him return, not to reclaim the old you, but to witness the new you, the version that is intentional, confident, self-assured, emotionally stable, and completely aligned with her value. Because once he meets that woman, he will understand something he never saw before. You were never waiting for him. You were becoming the best version of yourself, with or without him. Ladies, if there's one truth I want you to walk away with, it's this. A man's silence is not the end of your worth. It's the beginning of your awakening. When he can go days without talking to you, that's not your cue to panic, chase, overthink, or shrink yourself. That's your moment to rise. That's your moment to redirect every drop of energy you were pouring into him back into you, because the version of you he left behind is not the version he'll find when he comes back. You're evolving. You're upgrading. You're getting clearer about what you deserve. And the more you step into your power, the more the right people, including him, if he's meant to, will feel it. This journey isn't about making him chase. It's about making you stronger. It's about reminding yourself that your value doesn't decrease because someone pulled away. Your glow doesn't dim because someone went silent. Your heart doesn't lose power because someone stopped showing up. If he reaches out again, it's because your silence spoke louder than his. And if he doesn't, it's because you were always meant for something and someone better. Either way, you win.